Okay, so this is our second video looking at the unexpected questions from our speaking exam, and the questions we're looking at today are definitely the easiest of all the kinds of unexpected questions that could come up. So let's get into it. It's not going to take us too long. A reminder of why we need to know this. There will be 4 unexpected questions in the speaking exam, so that's 8 marks in total, 8 marks that are so easy to get. If you watch these videos, you understand how to revise the right strategies, you will be able to nail those 8 marks with very little effort. 2 come after the read aloud task and 2 come after the picture task. And the reason they are so easy to do well on is because there are patterns in the types of unexpected questions that we can track, and in these videos we are then going to practice so that we know what to do depending on the kind of question we get asked. And also it's always good to build our confidence with answering unexpected questions. So 2 marks max per question. A 1-word answer will get you no more than 1 mark. For 2 marks, you want to answer the question with clearly and using a verb generally. If you do that, there's no question that you'll get 2 marks. If your answer is maybe it's not clear if you are answering that question, or if your verbs aren't accurate, or if you're missing a verb, then it's more likely to be 1 mark. So today, like I said, the easiest of all the questions, it is the ¿qué piensas de? Or this could be phrased as ¿cuál es tu opinión sobre? So they're asking, anytime you hear this, it's asking what do you think of? If we look at number 6, instead of ¿qué piensas de? It's ¿qué piensas sobre? Both of them mean what do you think of? And as soon as you hear that, you should be triggered to think, right, in the answer column, it's opinion phrase. Repeat the verb from the question in brackets because it is not a necessity. Es or son plus adjective. And that is literally your go-to formula for every single kind of these questions. It's so easy. And I will just explain. So the reason the repeat verb from question is in brackets is because sometimes you don't understand the verb in the brackets, or sorry, the verb in the question. Sometimes you know what it means, but you struggle to pronounce it, or you can't fully remember what the teacher has said in order to repeat it. So only repeat the verb from the question if you are 100% sure you are repeating the correct thing and you are repeating all of it. In some recent mocks, I've had people repeat half of the verb phrase, and then it means they don't get marks because they've answered the wrong question. Or I've had people who kind of repeat it but skim over it very quickly because they know the pronunciation isn't right. So unless you are 100% confident in what you are saying, do not repeat the verb from the question. Just go for opinion phrase, es or son, and the adjective. Okay. The verbs in the question, as you can see, are highlighted in yellow. So the first one, ¿qué piensas de hacer actividades deportivas con amigos? Or, ¿cuál es tu opinión sobre hacer actividades deportivas con amigos? So my answer would be, pienso que es divertido. Or if I'm super confident, pienso que hacer actividades deportivas con amigos es divertido. But that's adding an extra 5 words that I'm not able to read, I'm having to remember, so much easier to just ignore the bit in yellow when I'm giving my answer. Of course, it's helpful to know what the question is asking me. So for number 1, what do you think about doing sports activities with friends? Great, okay? Obviously, when I understand a question, I am more likely to be able to answer it accurately. However, this is why these questions are so easy, because I know I'm being asked for an opinion. So as long as I say, I think it is plus adjective, I am 90% of the time going to be giving a sensible answer. Okay, like an example of when it wouldn't work is if I said pienso que es delicioso to this question. I think doing sports activities with friends is delicious. Obviously, that wouldn't get the marks because you've misunderstood the question. But 90% of the time, you don't need to understand the question. You just need to know, I'm being asked for an opinion. I'm going to say pienso que es plus adjective, done. Okay. So I am going to leave this to you now. So you've got 9 questions on the board, on the screen. I want you to pause the video. You're going to write your answer to each of these questions following the formula in the answer column. It is up to you whether when you get to a question that you don't understand, you look that up. It's always good practice when you're revising to do that because you're expanding your vocabulary. Or you might want to put into practice what I have just been talking about and give an answer without understanding the bit in yellow and see how it goes. There are 9 questions there. Write them down, literally give yourself like 20-30 seconds. Don't take any more than that because in the exam you're put on the spot, and then unpause and come back to look at some possible answers. Okay, so we've got the first one we've done already. Then dos, ¿qué piensas de la idea de vivir en otro país? So what do you think of the idea of living in another country? So a good answer would be, pienso que, if I want to include vivir en otro país, I could, but I don't have to, is emocionante. So I think it is exciting. I put in brackets here, sería would be even better because I'm asking about the idea of living in another country. So I think it would make more sense, but you are not going to lose any marks if you say pienso que es emocionante. Sería would be for like if you're doing higher and you feel super confident, then go for it. 3. ¿Qué piensas de las redes sociales? What do you think of social media? Now here we have to be careful because las redes sociales is plural. So you need to say, pienso que las redes sociales son peligrosas because it's las redes and you do have that information in the question. It's las, so I know it's feminine. ¿Qué piensas de tus profesores? Here we've got a tus in the question, so I would replace that with mis in the answer. Pienso que mis profesores, and again it's plural, son estrictos. And you do want to be careful with the son. ¿Qué piensas de pasar tiempo al aire libre? Pienso que es bueno para la salud. So what do you think of spending time outside? Al aire libre is always one that catches students off. So I've gone for good for your health, bueno para la salud. I could say divertido. Like, divertido and aburrido could be used here, and it wouldn't stop you getting 2 marks. These answers are just going a little bit, using a little bit more vocab because it's good to expose you to that when you're revising because you're more likely to have a wider vocabulary. But your answers do not need to be as detailed or as like varied with vocabulary as these. ¿Qué piensas sobre el ejercicio? What do you think of exercise? Pienso que es difícil pero importante. Again, the pero importante, not necessary. I'd get my 2 marks with pienso que es difícil, but as I said, now is the time to elaborate a little bit. ¿Qué piensas de los deberes? What do you think of homework? Again, I've got a plural noun. Pienso que los deberes son aburridos pero necesarios. Again, I don't need the pero on the end. I'm just showing off now, but make sure you've got the son and your adjectival agreement. 8. ¿Qué piensas de trabajar en un supermercado? What do you think of working in a supermarket? Pienso que es aburrido. Done. And finally, ¿qué piensas de los festivales de música? Again, be careful, I've got a plural noun, so I want to say, pienso que son entretenidos. Okay, and as you can see, I've gone for pienso que in every single one of these. You can choose whatever opinion phrase you want. You can mix it up. That's always nice. But as long as you have 1 or 2 up your sleeve for these questions, you're flying. Obviously, for the rest of the exam, the more you can say, the more varied your vocabulary, the better. Okay, so that was it. I told you they were easy. I hope you agree. I hope you can see that really it is so easy, so easy to get these marks. And top tips, remember, if you don't understand the full question, don't include that part in your answer. There is no requirement for you to do that. Keep it short. Opinion phrase, is or are plus adjective. Beware of your singular and plural nouns. Try to use is and son plus your adjectival agreement correctly. Do not overcomplicate it. You know how to give an opinion, so just fall back onto that confidence if you are stuck. And as always, 1-word answers will not get you 2 marks, but if your mind completely blanks, that's better than nothing. Okay, so that was it. We'll be back with more unexpected questions next week. Hasta la próxima semana.